Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and you're all very welcome to the Shout Out Show. Yes, our special guest is on board. There he is, and that's a man called Joe Dolan. Would you believe it? And we're going to start off our show in association with Apache Pizza. Yes, indeed, the best pizzas in town. And before we start, we always have to do the 12 bongs. Bong, 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 bong. Joe, give us 4 bongs, please.
Bong, 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 bong.
Excellent, Joe. Bong, 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 bong. Well, once again, you're all very welcome to the Shout Out Show. We have a man by the name of Joe Dolan on board, and we're going to chat to him. He's from Roscommon and a very interesting character. So, before we start, or before we keep going and talking to our good friend Joe, we got to do our show. So, starting off with a big shout out to Aaron Lynch. Aaron Lynch, congratulations with your apprenticeship. Yes, he went in on the 14th to do sort of an apprenticeship course type of thing. You know, come in here and check this out and the whole lot. He checked it out all right. He went to Drogheda the whole way from Dunleer, and you know, today the boss called him, and it was a good question because the boss says to him, Aaron, we want you to start an apprenticeship properly today. So congratulations, Aaron, from all your family and from the Shout Out Show. So well done, young man. Okay, food shout out today is the pit stop here in Mullingar, right beside the post office. It's on your right hand side as you're going up the town. It's on your left hand side as you go down the town before the post office. Best sandwiches in town. A big shout out to Joanne and Anne. Okay, so thank you very much, ladies. Let me see who else we got here. Recommendations. Yes, a recommendation, lads. Here's a Facebook recommendation for you all. It's called Grounding of the Grandfather. Yes, it's a Facebook page, and it's Dara Carroll. And Dara Carroll was on the radio yesterday, Ryan Tuberty's show. Go and check out the podcast, and he spoke about bringing a flame from Norway to Ireland. Very, very interesting guy, very, very passionate, and I think he's only 26, but he is bringing the flame from Norway to Ireland, and he's in Ireland at the moment. He had a few shipwrecks on the way, but made it with the flame. The flame is still burning. He's down around Cork, and he's heading for Mullingar. That's right, he's going to come to Ishnock, and he's going to start off sending loads of energy and loads of power, and they're going to heal the land and going to heal this country, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't believe me, this is definitely worth believing, because anything can happen nowadays. And you know what? I'm going to meet this man when he arrives in Mullingar. So keep an eye out for Dara Carroll. And his page is Grounding of the Grandfather. Very, very interesting character. And you know what? He could heal Ireland. Brilliant. Okay, birthday shout outs to Margaret. Oh, it's not to Margaret, it's Margaret and Tommy Rosney's son. And Tommy Rosney is with the Radio Highland up there, and a real gentleman altogether. Big shout out to you, Tommy and Margaret. And your son is 30 today, and that's Don, and I think he's down in Trim, so a big shout out to you from the Shout Out Show. Tom Dalton in Dublin, he is with Spirit Radio, and it's his birthday, so happy birthday to you, Tom Dalton. Mary Canning from Rathcormac, County Cork, it's your birthday, congratulations. And Dee Barden is from Bun, otherwise known as Bunbrusna, just outside Mullingar, and it's your birthday. Nora CIUG Coughlin, and she's in Limerick. Happy birthday to you. Jessica Kane is from Mullingar, yes, and she has her birthday, so a big shout out to you, Jessica. Dara Daly from Mullingar, it's your birthday. And Sarah Henderson, happy birthday to you, coming from Mullingar, in Mullingar on our bus. Yes, going live every single day at 12 o'clock with the Shout Out Show and the 12 bongs, and we go live at 5 as well, 5ish. Debbie Brennan is in Bettystown, and a big happy birthday to you, Debbie Brennan. Chris Craig, hello to you, sir, and he's in Mullingar, and happy birthday to you. And Susan Murphy from Britis in Dublin, congratulations on your birthday. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our star today, coming the whole way from Roscommon via London. He owns 2 hostilleries over there. It's the Dalton the Dalton Public House in Ferty, and that's in Roscommon. And then he's another pub in Galway, which is only down the road because it's just a border. and it's called Dolan's Pub. So, no further ado, he's an entrepreneur, he's a businessman, he's a legend, and we met on Facebook because his name is Joe Dolan.
Hi everyone.
Joe, how's it going?
Very good, Ray. Good to see you.
Great to have you on board, Joe, and thank you very much for making the time to come over and see us here
Not at all.
on the bus. Joe, you're an entrepreneur who left Roscommon many years ago.
Yeah, left Roscommon when I was 16, so back in 1990.
Wow.
Head of London. Family was over there already. Recession times in Ireland in the late 80s, early 90s.
That's right.
So, started working in pubs and progressed quite rapidly in the pub industry in London and managing pubs, owning pubs, and
All right.
by the time I got to 28, I had 12, 13 years in the pub industry, and I decided, let's do something else, and I got out of it. But the way the world works, done the full circle now again, and I'm back in the industry again, but in Ireland this time.
And after finishing the pubs, what you do after that, or in England, yeah?
Well, I was involved in property. Was my main bread and butter for them years. Buying houses, refurbishing them, doing them up, selling them, holding them, renting them out, and so on.
In the 80s then, what was it like to be in London? Was it hard going? Were we accepted in London? What was the scene with Irish people in London at that time?
Yeah, it was 1990, August 1990 when I went there. So it was tough, I suppose. There was a lot of the IRA bombings were still going on in London, and there was in many ways still an anti-Irish thing within London, and you'd be many times nearly afraid to raise your voice, because you'd have the Irish accent, and that's genuine. Outside of the Irish areas, of course. But in the Irish areas, it was very much home from home.
Did you put on the English accent then?
No, but I
went over the boat.
Well, funny, one of the pubs I actually worked in was a very lovely village called Harpington, which is out near Luton.
Right.
And I was the only Irish guy really in that village. It was a very affluent English village. So I used to visit, say, my sisters maybe on my day off in London, get the train up to Cricklewood, and they would detect the English accent from me. Bearing in mind I was only 16, 17 at the time, so of course you're, more chance of picking up the accent than we say if you're 40.
Exactly, but as well as that, more musical people do sort of pick up where they're around, and they pick up, if some people are working with Irish people in America from Donegal and end up with a Donegal accent. I know friends like that even as well, and it does naturally come in. But you moved on from that. You're doing presentations, you were saying.
Yeah,
where did they come from?
Well, I'm a person that likes to give back to people, and even coming here today is, just helping you out, and
I appreciate,
whatever. And so I've done many presentations in terms of training people to be a better entrepreneur, a better business owner, and helping them and mentoring them and so on, which sometimes would mean that I'd have to stand in front of a room of 50 to 100 people. I've actually spoken in front of 2,000 people.
Did you find it hard?
I did, but it was all about the preparation. And we were kind of chatting about that a little while ago, and if you prepare in advance, it's easy. And a lot of the times when you do presentations and you're talking, there's a lot of crossover between presentations, and once you've mastered it one time, it's relatively straightforward after that.
How did that come in? Now, fair enough, you're working in a bar, and a bar is a huge education. It's a great way to meet people, and it's a great way to bring you out of yourself, and you learn so much from behind the bar, because I learnt from a very early age from behind the bar. I worked in the Beehive, and then I worked in our own pub, and that brought me up to me 16. So I was working from 13, 14, 15, 16, and you're learning. I always remember selling the Christmas hamper cards, That was a great way of meeting people, because you went out and you started chatting away, and then people, so you learnt. But how did you get into presentation then? Well, how did that happen?
Well, I think when you work behind a bar, and I just say to my current staff, and a lot of them are younger, and it reminds me of when I started. I said, there's no hiding place here. And if there is a hiding place, you shouldn't be here. You know what I mean? Because you're constantly selling, selling yourself, selling, what maybe an event that's happening in the pub at the weekend, music or something like that. That's your job.
Yeah.
It's not just to fill pints.
Yeah.
So you're constantly, and when you do that for 12 years like I did, and I'd done nothing else. Yeah. You become, I'm saying I'm a master at it, but people would say you could sell snow to the Eskimos, without being a hard sales guy. I'm not a sales guy. But I know I have an ability to sell.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Exactly.
Which led to men, but then I also found my way with wanting to give back to people and wanting to educate people and help people, and I didn't have any formal education, like, so whatever I learned myself. So
would you be a good reader?
Oh yeah, like good, mainly entrepreneurial books.
Wow.
Yeah, mainly
who's
like
your,
autobiographies.
who's your favourite, like?
Oh, few, like
Dale Carnegie. Carnegie was in one.
Dale Carnegie was very good. Like all these are great books to read. One book I really love, and it's the 80-20 rule, and it's a guy called Richard Koch, Koch.
Right.
And it basically says, like, like normally we make lists and we have like 10 things on our lists. If you do the two most important things on the lists, that'll generate you 80% of your income, or 80% of what you need to achieve in that day. The two most important things. But if you leave them off and do the 8, you only do 20% of what you should have done. And another thing about the 80-20 rule is, think about it this way. In your wardrobe.
Right.
Okay? We've got 100 shirts.
Okay.
Or 10 shirts.
Yeah.
2 of them will be worn more than the other 8.
Correct and right.
Yeah. It works everywhere you think about the 80-20 rule.
And what about the other thing is hoarders? The hoarders have to throw stuff out because you don't use it in 2 months.
But we're all hoarders. If you look at your wardrobe, it's a hoarder. It's not a wardrobe.
It's a wardrobe.
Yeah, it's a wardrobe. Exactly. That's it.
Now, tell us, getting back to the pubs, pub culture has been changed dramatically, and a few things that have been lost is socially.
Yeah, especially now in the last 6 months, with COVID and so on. And, it's great to have the pubs open. Yes, and I opened the pub Dolan's in Craig's about 11 weeks ago. We do food there and so on. So I was able to open that about 11 weeks ago. And that was great. And people came to me genuinely. They were travelling. Like at that time, I was probably one of the first pubs to open in the area.
Wow.
More pubs after that opened, then thereafter I kind of give them the lead.
Yeah.
And people were genuine, 20-25 mile radius come to the pub. Now, it wasn't because they're raving alcoholics down in Craig's or in Roscommon. It's because they needed a social outlet.
Yeah.
They didn't just get out for a few pints. Remember, these people were 4 months at that point, locked up.
Yeah.
Not meeting their friends, not meeting anybody. And I remember the first Sunday, or maybe the second Sunday, it was like Christmas time. When we were people that hadn't met each other for months.
Right.
Out buying each other drinks. It was like surreal. It was just like St. Stephen's Day or, Christmas Eve or whatever. Week before Christmas, people meeting each other and say, oh, let me get you a pint, blah, blah, blah. Because they hadn't seen each other. Mm-hmm. So, it's great that all the rest of the pubs are open. And I think we have to understand that we've lost, I suppose, some of our culture now.
Yeah.
And there is a certain audience or certain people, maybe the older folks that come down on a Tuesday night for a pint or whatever, they're not going to be out. Mm-hmm. And there could be months, it may never happen for some of them.
Hopefully that they will come back, as I said. I played in your pubs and they're fantastic places, but they're out. Like, one is out from Roscommon. Yeah. It's out. There's a great landscape around it. There's no houses, so people who are looking in from a housing area or from a busy area. So these people come to your pub, as I say, and it's like a hub. Yeah. It's a cultural place, and some people think this is a lot of bullshit, but really it's not, because it's so important now. And then the music as well. I mean, hopefully we're going to get back into playing music fairly soon, but as I said, let's hope. I don't look too far down the road, but we keep singing in the bus, so we do our best,
Yeah, I think a pub needs to, both my pubs are in rural areas, so they're not in any towns or anything like that. One is in Furety, which is 5 miles outside Roscommon town. Lovely area, but apart from the pub, there's nothing else really in that area, as you know, you were there. Yeah. And the other one in Craig's is a small village, basically a thoroughfare through, on the way to other bigger towns. But if you give people a reason to come out, they'll come out and support. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm a believer in. So like when I, Monday night music with Ray Dolan in Blow and Dalton's in Furety, people are saying, is this guy mad? Where's he coming with all these ideas? Yeah. And the place then was packed. Yeah. Packed to the rafters. On a Monday night after the races. Yeah. And we had you there subsequently 2 or 3 times. But I'm also doing I do other things like little bits of promotions, little bits of games, the thing just to generate interest and generate people footfall.
Yeah.
And that's important, because if you're waiting for the same people to come every night, yeah, they'll come, but not in their droves. And you're running a business, so.
With your business in the Dalton Inn, then you intend to make it bigger,
Yes.
put on more buildings onto it, and make a sort of a venue or a hotel over it. Is that your
that's
plan?
right. Yeah, like I bought the pub 18 months ago, and straight away we put in planning for the development of it. It's on 1.5 acres of land. So I'm starting in January. I'm putting a side extension to the pub, which basically. That's the first phase.
So you're moving ahead, yeah?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Good man,
100%,
good man.
without doubt. That's the first phase. Second phase then will be next year or the year after, where we're adding 12, 14 bedrooms upstairs to that. Okay. But then from next April, the pub will. Right now, it's open from 5 o'clock in the evening. A few lads come in every evening. It's good local pub, as we said. But I want to move that business on now to incorporate food and be open then from 12 o'clock in the day. And as Ray said and I mentioned, it's a nice area. So people will. It'll be a destination pub eventually.
Yeah.
When I had a playground for kids at the back, and there's a big car park and that, and maybe fellow publicans are looking and thinking this guy's mad. I don't know. We'll see in a year or two's time. But at least I got the drive and willingness to take my business on.
Well,
other people will just sit there and say, "Oh, you know what? COVID's a problem."
Yeah.
Like 4 or 5 years ago, I remember coming back from Ireland, or maybe a bit longer. I come back for holidays and whatever, and people were talking about, "Oh, Shane Ross has killed the country pubs with the drink driving."
Yeah.
Drink driving has been in Ireland for 30 years, 40 years. let's get away from that argument, okay? Do something about it.
Yeah.
COVID's going to be here for the next maybe 12 months.
Exactly.
We need to keep moving with it.
I'm fucking fair play to you, and I'm cursing it, but fair play to you for having the initiative to just push it on and not just sit and say, "Oh, lads." Yeah. The other thing is, Craig's is down the road now. It's on the border, as I say, and it's in Galway. But on the other, that's an unusual pub, because I met a gentleman who from that area, and he says, "Oh, it's a great place." He says down there, and he was telling me that there's a huge football field down there as well.
Yeah, big rugby pitch. Yeah, right. So Craig's Rugby is such a progressive club, and they've got a 3G pitch, which means that it's like an all-weather pitch basically. And then there's like when teams can't play at their matches, they can bring them to Craig's. So in the coming weeks, I'm putting a kitchen into Craig's. Proper kitchen, going to be doing food from 12 o'clock in the day.
Brilliant.
Let's go. I'll have that launched by the end of October.
Well, there you are, folks. All I can say is it's great to have a man with a bit of drive on the bus, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the bus is driving along, but we have a man called Joe Dolan. Tell us, you called Joe Dolan. Has that been good to you?
Yeah. Like I have to say, it's like I suppose if I got a pound or a euro for every time somebody brought it to my attention, maybe I'd be as
Have you got a good story, or what, have you got a good story out of it? As I say, oh me, oh my, everyone probably calls you, or did they sing "Good Looking Woman," or what? Like, you're from Roscommon, and there's not many Dolans down there, is there?
No, we're originally from Leitrim and moved to Roscommon when we were quite young, and then
because the Dolans come from
London.
Cavan anyway.
Yeah. But then. Well, they're a good story. Like I've seen Joe playing, in London. Galtymore was a big venue over
spot,
there, like which 4,000 or 5,000 people. Just for people that don't know it, it's a massive place. But I was going out with this girl for many years, and she was a big Joe Dolan fan. So there you go. She got her dream to sleep with Joe Dolan.
Right, folks. With that, I think we'll wrap it up. But okay.
Well, you didn't ask.
I know. It's great. So we have loads of people looking in, and they're not saying anything. So let me see what else we got here. We've Audrey, and she's looking in. She says, "Fantastic guy, Ray Dolan. Keep up the happy every day." That's Audrey. She sits virtually in the front seat every day. And she's
Audrey,
from Clady. You know all the gang from watching in yourself. Agnes Dalton is watching. That's Agnes Dalton. Oh, I think she's from down your. There's loads of people watching, not saying anything. Okay, guys, look, thanks for looking in and thanks for sharing. Here we are. Lizzie says, "Joe, my nanny was from Boyle, Roscommon."
Very good.
There you are, and that's Lizzie from Dublin. And hello, that's Pauline McCudden, and she says hello. She was on the bus not too long ago. Carmen Kennedy's looking in from London. To all on the bus and this lovely sunny day, which is not sunny here. Welcome to the bus, Joe. That's from Audrey. And Joan Downey says hello once again from Clonus. Colette's looking in from France, and Lizzie's there, and Karina is looking in from Holland. Mick Daly says, love the t-shirt, thanks. This one I've asked, because I sent him a t-shirt and I sent him a blue one, and he says it was too big for him, so he sent it back to me and I collected his. But I'm asking Mick now to send me a picture of him wearing the t-shirt. So this is your job for today, Mick, if you can find it, or Mike. Okay, let me see. Audrey's in there again. Margaret's looking in from Murta. She's from a local girl. Carmen, Margaret. Okay, right, folks. This is myself. This is Ray Dolan from Mullingar in Mullingar with Joe Dolan on the bus. Today is the Shout Out Show. We start at 12. We'll be on at 5-ish today. And thanks for being with us, folks. If you want to share this, please do. And don't forget, there's no show like a Joe show. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.